Okay, so I know everybody has tropes in different media that they hate, and I wanted to rant about mine because that's always fun to get a little bit of a ranty video out there, isn't it? Just helps to get things out. Real quick, before we get into it, I'm going to talk about the art real quick. This is one of my characters, actually from a story that I started back in high school, so it's been a long time. It's been a long time. Oh, goodness. So, this is Alyssa. She used to have a very different name. It was one of those, I'll actually touch on it, funnily enough, with my least favorite tropes here in a bit. This is not her original incarnation, obviously. She's from a story that I call Archives that now has a fantasy counterpart that I call Chronicles. I will talk more about them later. I have shown one of the other characters, I believe, in a video on here, and I definitely have on my Patreon. But for the fantasy version, she is a water-earth fairy mix, and she is a druid, and that's all I'm going to touch on for this because I want to keep most things kind of under wraps. But now that I've talked about that, and I really enjoyed making this, by the way, this was it was a fun drawing to do, and it actually has a little bit of a background. I'm proud of myself. I never do that. So now that I've gotten that out of the way, let's get into the tropes. So, one of the first ones that I'm going to talk about, and this is a pretty typical one, pretty standard. Number 1, the boring male main character. You know what I mean, the ones who, like, you could put them in a lineup of other similar main characters and you might not be able to pick out which one he is or who's in what show, unless you, like, obsessively watch each show. What is it with the carbon copy main character issue with, like, it's specifically with male main characters? Like, you've got a similar thing with personality with female main characters that goes on, but the biggest problem that I find is that the male main characters are so bland, and you know what, actually I know what it is. It's that they're made to be, like, reader or watcher, audience self-inserts. They're made to be, like, a character that the audience can project themselves on. But, like, what is with this plain potato chip person, okay? He is the blandest. And when I say plain potato chip, I mean somehow they missed even putting the salt on it, okay? He is just a plain little fried potato chip. And I cannot deal. It's frustrating. They all look the same, they all act the same, they all sound the same, and they all end up with, like, you know, the whole, like, harem trope going on, and I can't stand it. I hate it. But that would definitely be number 1. Number 2, insta-love. I don't like insta-love. I cannot stand insta-love. A crush is one thing, like if characters see each other and, oh, they're cute, I like them. That's one thing. I get that. Everybody goes through that, like they're cute, you know, lust at first sight or whatever. That's one thing. But even in stuff with soulmates and whatnot, I think you should at least get to know them first before you be like, oh, I love them. Oh, I've fallen for them. Let the characters spend some time together, not just, oh, I have seen you, I have encountered you, therefore I am head over heels madly in love with you. Guys, come on now. I can't stand it in books. I can't stand it in anime, manga. It gets on my nerves, just TV shows, any of it. I hate it. It drives me nuts. Like, having a crush on somebody, that's one thing, because that happens all the time. But just absolutely head over heels, but I love him! No. Stop. Like, guys, come on now. Now, getting on to another one. And I've actually done a whole video on this one. Number 3, love triangles. Now, I'm very particular with this. When I say love triangles, I just don't enjoy it, for one thing. But the biggest problem is, and I would like it better if it weren't for this fact, we all know who the girl's gonna pick in the end. It's always obvious, and the unnecessary stupidity and drama and just dragging things out just gets on my nerves, man. I have never liked it. And also, this is a nitpick, but it's not a triangle. It's a love V, not a love triangle. It would be a triangle if, you know, it was an actual, you know, this person has an interest in this person, who has an interest in a different person, who has an interest in the first person. That's a triangle, because there's a line going from, you know, in a triangle. Yeah, the other one's a love V. It's always two guys interested in a very specific girl. Like, there's never an interest by one guy in the other. You know what? Actually, give me an actual love triangle. Like, give me that. That would be interesting to see, very interesting to do. And, like, give me that and end it in a cute little poly thing. That would be fun. Give me that. Maybe I'll have to write that at one point. That would be fun. I think I'd like that. Anyway, got distracted. So now on to number 4. This is one that I mentioned when I was talking about the art. Crazy names. Crazy names. That is one that gets on my nerves, but I have been guilty of. Alyssa, the character in the art, her name was at one point Alistia, because I thought I was being cute and clever. And it's one thing if it's a fantasy setting where everybody's name is out there and different. That's a little bit different, so long as you don't go crazy. People need to be able to pronounce your characters' names, please. The problem comes though when everybody's name is normal except the main character. Why? Why? It kills me. Everybody's name is normal except for the main character. It makes no sense. And it drives me nuts. And like I said, I was guilty of it because you had Alistia and then everybody else had normal names. And it was just so... Looking back on it, I don't know how I didn't, like, kick myself over that one. But I don't know. Okay, so number 5, this is one that I see a lot in anime specifically, and that is the accidental pervert. I can't stand that. You know, a guy trips and accidentally touches the girl inappropriately, or accidentally the wind blows and he sees up her skirt because her skirt flies up and it's his fault even though he didn't actually do anything. Or even the girl walks in on the guy changing and because he got caught changing, he's the pervert. What? I have never, I thought it was so stupid from the get-go. Like, if it's a one-off thing that happens and there's a way that it could be misconstrued where the girl would think that maybe he did it on purpose, that's one thing, but that's never the case. And from that point on, he is deemed and viewed by everyone as a perv, and I can't handle it because why? Can we not? Why? I hate that. It gets on my nerves. It's unnecessary. If it was just a one little thing that maybe they picked on him a little bit, that would be one thing, but that's never the case. So now getting on to number 6, death of the mentor. Why? Why does this always happen? I can't stand this. It gets on my nerves. It's frustrating because I like mentor characters. To an extent, I can understand why sometimes it's necessary. Sometimes it can be necessary if, for the sake of the story, there's no other way to really spur the main character into action than having the person who taught them things die. Or the person who, the person will just keep relying on the mentor to fix the problems rather than branching out and doing it themselves and letting themselves just keep being protected. But then you don't always have to kill them. You don't always have to kill them. I like mentor characters a lot. And whenever they end up dead, I'm just like, ugh. And it drives me up the wall. You could just incapacitate them. Make it to where they can't do the fighting anymore and the MC has to stand up. But they can still be there for encouragement and wisdom. And I understand that sometimes it's gonna happen. But why is it always, man? Why? That's not necessary for it to always be that way. I don't know. I don't like it. I have never liked it. So going on to number 7, we've got the anti-girly female MC. Look, I'm not into girly stuff. I love tomboy characters. I also love characters who are pretty and feminine and can kick your butt. Give me more of that. A character doesn't have to hate everything that's girly and feminine just to exist as a strong character. I know plenty of women who are very strong, who are very feminine. It's not mutually exclusive, and on top of that, man, aren't we tired of this trope yet? Why is it so constant? Why does everybody go for that? I don't get it. I have never gotten it. It's frustrating. It's annoying. It drives me up the wall, and I don't understand why people like it, why people keep doing it. It's so frustrating, and it sends such a bad message, too, because, if I got long nails, your face is gone. That's how it is. Girls can do some damage, okay? Especially ones who are more feminine. They can do some damage without having to have, a bunch of older brothers who taught them how to fight, not at that, strong female character trope. Anyway, now that I'm done with that one, let's get on to number 8, miscommunication. It's going to happen sometimes. However, I hate whenever the drama from it goes on for unreasonably long. Miscommunications happen. Those are very realistic. They're extremely realistic. However, if we're getting days and days of drama when it could be solved by something minor that the two characters just need to sit down and talk about, there's a problem. There's a problem. Just talk to each other. Why is it so hard? Like, I hate talking to people when I can handle that. Oh my gosh. Can we not? Because it's absurd. It's absolutely absurd. Like, talk to each other. Communicate. I want to say a thing, but I don't want to swear. English mother, do you speak it? Anybody who gets that joke. I had to. But that is one of my biggest ones. It's so frustrating, and I can't stand drama that comes around like that. So getting into this one, I'm going to ruffle the feathers of some very specific people with this one. Because, and I know it comes up in every, like, anime tropes list specifically, but I can't stand it. It's the multiple 1,000-year-old child who is there essentially for fan service. I cannot deal with that. Now, I will say, in real life, yes, some people look way younger than they are. Some people look a lot younger. You have some people who have medical issues that can cause it to even be to an extreme where they look way, way younger. But, and I know it can actually occur, but there does get to be some gray area there, though. Like, I'm sorry, if somebody's interested just because that's how they look, that's a red flag. That is a huge red flag. It's red and it's managing to glow. That's how red of a flag it is. Just period, hands down. Now, that said, I feel like this wouldn't be so much of an issue if the characters who looked like that didn't also act like kids. Like, you're not fooling anybody. We all know it's creeper bait. And frankly, most people are icked out by it. And I will not deal with justification of it in the comments, like, real quick, just so you know that will be gone because I don't agree with that. Because just no. It is creeper bait. I can't stand it. I hate that trope. Just no. And now we're on to the very last one. This is one of the ones that gets on my nerves the most. And that is the bury your gays tropes. Now, I'm not saying characters can't die if they happen to not be straight. That is not at all what I'm saying. However, if you just have your token queer character and you kill them, congrats, all your rep is gone. And that sends a very particular message, you know? If you kill off the only gay character and that is like the main one that dies, that says something. It really does. Now, look, I will say, because I mess with this in my own stuff, I love some tragic romance. Don't get me wrong, I love tragic romance. Doesn't matter if it's straight or queer. I love tragic romance. In more than one of my stories, I have some tragic romance going on, particularly in Trace. But the point is, with the tragic romance in that, and yes, it is tragic queer romance, is not the only queer characters. The only queer characters, they're not only the ones involved in the tragic romance. If you have some more representation, like say you've got multiple of straight and multiple queer characters, it just looks like, oh no, someone ended up dead if a character dies. It doesn't look the same. The optics are very different. And I have to point that out because I've seen people argue with, so what, I'm not allowed to kill a character just because they're gay? And that sounds really bad out of context, and I just realized that. But like, here's the thing. If you want to have a character die who happens to be a gay character, just have more, you know? Have others in there. Don't make them the only one who dies. It's kind of like, you know, other token characters being the only ones to die or the ones who die first immediately. It sends a very particular message. But these are the tropes that I just really, really are my least favorites. I'm gonna have to do another one of these. I'm gonna have to do one also with my favorite tropes, because I have a lot of tropes that I really, really love. And I thought this was fun. It was fun to just rant about things for a little bit. But that's all I have for this one. What tropes do you guys not like? It can be books, anime, movies, shows, whatever. I want to know what tropes you guys don't like. Seriously, I think it'd be fun to hear what ones you guys have issues with and why, and reading your rants in the comments. That would be fun. But that's all I've got for this one. Quick announcement. I have put my Patreon on pause. So just so people know, I have paused it. I will not be updating it for a while because I am back to school now, and doing classes, working full-time, and juggling YouTube, it just makes it really hard for me to try and keep up with Patreon too. And I don't want to bite off more than I can chew in one go. I want to try and keep that manageable. Keep things well enough that I can actually do them. And if I can find a better balance at one point, then I might reopen it. But for now, it's on hold. It will continue to be on hold for a while. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!